I'm joined by educator Dr. Kevin Donnelly. He's also in Melbourne. Good to talk to you again, Kevin. This is extraordinary when you think about a cost of living squeeze. We know some private school prices are rising incredibly, yet we're seeing a bigger and bigger proportion of kids going to private schools rather than public schools. Now, a lot of those private schools will be lower fee private schools that are understandably becoming very popular. But isn't this a massive vote of faith or lack of faith in the public system?
Unfortunately, you're right, Chris. I mean, parents are voting with their feet. They're leaving the government system. And the funny thing here is if you look at the ACT, over 40% of enrolments are in non-government schools, Catholic and independent. So even the woke bureaucrats in Canberra are sending their kids to the non-government schools. And there are many reasons for that happening. You mentioned many of the schools are low fee paying, many of the Christian and Catholic schools in particular. I mean, often these schools are attacked, the non-government schools, for being wealthy, privileged, but that's not the case. I mean, they have fees ranging between $3,000 to $10,000. So they're often very attractive to people in the lower to middle SES background. And I think that's a good thing. I've always supported school choice.
Yeah, now I've got a bit of a theory here. I would have thought an uncontentious theory, but I'd be interested to get your comments on it. And that is that we all know there's a variety of reasons parents make that sacrifice to send their kids to private schools. Sometimes it's because, they want them to mix in higher social circles. They can afford to do that. Sometimes it's religion. They want a certain faith to be part of the education. But I think primarily for people who make that sacrifice, it's because they know these schools are disciplined and are focused on the basics in education. They're kind of old-fashioned and they're not getting that in the public system. Is that a fair interpretation?
On the whole, I'd have to agree with that. I mean, especially in Sydney, there are quite a few selective secondary schools that have very good academic results and parents are very keen to get their children in there. But overall, if you look at Australia-wide, it's generally the case when you look at parental surveys that they choose schools, non-government, especially Christian schools, because they have a strong moral grounding. The discipline is generally better. The classes, in terms of the teachers, they've got more committed teachers because what these schools have is they have greater autonomy and flexibility compared to government schools, which in many ways are run by the bureaucracy and the teacher union. The non-government schools have greater control over staffing, curriculum focus. They do things like co-curriculum, music, drama, Saturday sport. So it's not just the academic results where they always do better, it's also they have a more comprehensive curriculum.
Absolutely, and there's some ways to attack that in the public system. We'll get you back on sometime soon to talk about them, Kevin. I appreciate it.